Hello. It's been a while. I guess we should start by explaining why. We decided to take a step back and take a nice small break before jumping into the crazy summer. COVID is still going on, we all got busy, and we just needed a small hiatus.
We were relaxing, getting our mojo back, and seeing that there is a light at the end of the tunnel. Vaccines are rolling out, movies are coming back, and finally, there's a reason to be excited about hosting a movie podcast again.
So we decided to come back strong with an episode that had that outlook, looking to the future for the rest of 2021 and all of 2022 for movies. And just as we got ready to get together again and record, NBC canceled the Golden Globes.
So now in the midst of this long overdue craziness, we have returned. Sit down, look at the facts, look at the past, and look to the future to ask the question: what is going to happen to award shows now?
Cue the music. Hello and welcome back to 21st Century Cinema. It's the podcast about film and the film industry. Today I am once again joined by my lovely and talented co-host. First up, she's the OG, the rebel without a cause, our host who should be on a podcast about music. Please welcome Ava Crivello.
Hello.
Hi, Ava. Very nice
Hi.
to see you.
Yes, likewise.
I know, I hardly see you at all these days, you know? Never see Ava anymore, gosh.
Yeah, never.
What's that about? And our other co-host, joining us all the way from Newfoundland. He's a radio jockey by early day and a theater performer by night, and he should probably be on a podcast about Broadway instead of this one. Please welcome Noah Shepherd.
Hey, Joe.
You could also be on a podcast about two guys named Noah.
That's true. Two handsome dudes named Noah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm actually probably not theater performer by night, because I at the radio gig I work afternoons and evenings, so it's more so like theater performer on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays.
I'm so sorry to get that wrong.
Well,
I'm so sorry. You know, why don't you link me a Google Calendar of your availability so I can make things as accurate as possible?
Yeah, I will.
For the next episode.
Well, you're gonna have to schedule things, so you know what?
Yeah.
I'm a busy man, Joe.
I know. So busy. So busy. That's why that hair is still as long as it is?
I got a cut recently, alright? Look, it's no longer down to my mid-back, it's only just
You need to
below my
remember
collar.
I haven't seen you in over a year now, which is so sad.
True. That's so sad. Oh, God.
Heartbreaking. I used to see you every single day.
Can you get a travel exemption?
And now I see Ava every single day.
That's an upgrade, let's be honest.
Sound off in the comments of our Instagram or wherever the hell you're following us. What's better, seeing Noah every day or seeing Ava every day?
Oh, that's not a nice
mean.
question to ask.
That's a mean one. Well, actually, Ava did win the host vote, so...
Yeah, she did win the host. And, what's funny, though, is that, both of our girlfriends, Noah, did not vote for us.
No, my girlfriend voted for you.
Mm-hmm. I think Katie voted for Ava, but that's just family,
blood's thicker
loyalty,
than water,
you know?
right?
Yeah.
That's how that works.
Or I'm just, better.
Also,
okay.
probably that one, let's be honest.
Then Joe, at least,
Oh,
you know?
well, obviously, that goes without saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why the merch with my face on it is the best-selling merch we have.
It's merch that tells you to shut up. That's not a
Shut
good
up,
example.
It isn't. But also, buy a Shut Up Joe shirt, mug, sweater, whatever you want it on. Link down below to our merch store.
I use
Check it
mine
out.
daily, so in case you're wondering that it won't pay off.
I'm honestly, afraid, though. You use it, though, for, everything but wearing it. It's your dish rag, it's your toilet paper when you run out, it's... the images in people's heads now. So to celebrate, we are back with a full uncut episode. That's right. Usually something like this would just end up on our Patreon for Noah and my mom to listen to in all their glory. But now, no, everybody gets to hear every single moment. And if you are enjoying this, go subscribe to our Patreon and hang out with Noah and my mom. They're nice people.
We are.
So anyways, let's get into what's happening in Hollywood. The big shakeup that a day before we were going to record, I was just and we're changing the episode. Last week, NBC made the announcement to cancel the Golden Globes for 2022.
So this isn't a permanent cancellation. The Hollywood Foreign Press has been given a year to clean up their ethics and make changes. And if they succeed in doing this, NBC is willing to bring back the Globes for 2023.
The ethics that NBC wants to see changed are racism and bribery, just overall corruption. The HFP has a long track record of accepting bribes and not recognizing people of color.
Celebrities such as Scarlett Johansson have joined the movement in protest, saying that they will no longer continue to support the Globes if this behavior continues. And Tom Cruise even returned his 3 Globes to the Hollywood Foreign Press. You know it's bad when the Scientologist is on your side.
We're going to break down all the controversies, the ratings, and what this means for the future of the Globes.
And we'll also be taking a look at everything compared to the Oscars to see if the Academy will be on the chopping block next.
So guys, before we break into every single thing that we researched individually and talk about our opinions, while I was doing my research for this episode, I discovered something just mind-boggling that nobody is really talking about. Did you guys know that this is not the first time the Globes have gotten themselves kind of canceled?
No, actually I didn't.
I didn't know that either.
Yeah. I was absolutely shocked because I was just reading about the controversies, and yeah, I found this out. So, what happened was, in the late 60s, 1968, the Federal Communications Commission chastised NBC, which broadcasts the show, as we know, for having misled the public as to how the winners were determined. Among other issues, the FCC raised was its belief that the Hollywood Foreign Press required winners to show up at the ceremony, or else they would pick a different winner who would win. This led to the Globes not being broadcast nationally again until the mid-70s. So the Globes were only broadcast in America for a few years. And then afterwards, we got into a lot more of controversies with them getting bribes in, mainly in 1982, when little-known actress Pia Zadora for the almost unseen movie Butterfly was nominated, and then a few decades later when Johnny Depp's The Tourist got nominated, which was hated.
Not the
which was hated by everyone, and you knew that was happening because Ricky Gervais called it out in his opening monologue that year, and in his opening monologue the year after.
Yes, and I believe once he introduced Johnny Depp to...
Yeah, that's the year after.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that was the year after thing we're talking about. Yeah. Have you ever seen The Tourist?
No, and he hasn't. He hasn't.
He hasn't! And Johnny Depp admitted on stage that he hadn't seen The Tourist. His Golden Globe nominated movie. But anyways, let's start off with just the cancellation of this movement, guys. Hit me with your thoughts, Ava.
Justified.
Extremely justified.
I mean, it's a little almost disheartening that celebrities came out and said oh yeah, we know this is happening, we're gonna side with it, but they're only doing it now, if that makes sense. Almost as if they have to do it or else they're gonna be in trouble too. Mm-hmm. Almost like they just want to cover their back and they don't want to be canceled. It feels very ingenuine from people like Tom Cruise and that, you know.
Mm-hmm. Well, especially because the Globes themselves don't often recognize people of color, which is already not right, but there's no people of color on the Hollywood Foreign Press. There is no representation.
To be fair.
But to be honest, the Hollywood Foreign Press don't exactly... Well, actually, we're covering it. They don't have a good track record. This is exactly what we're talking about. And it's just a bunch of confused old white men who are given golden trophies to whoever they remember.
To Leonardo DiCaprio.
Whoever they remember from 3 years ago.
The funny thing is, it's not even qualified critics or people in the industry. It's outside entertainment journalists, some of whom only do a few articles per year. You know, it's honestly laughable that unqualified people could have say over people. Something that's. It's really just a big marketing ploy. It's just a way to promote movies.
The thing that Go ahead, Joseph.
Sorry, no. I was just gonna say though, what's so crazy though is that it is this exclusive thing of people who are so unqualified, but it over the years has become something so big that it's what sets the precedent for the Oscars and the Academy Awards. A lot of people base their Oscar predictions or which way they think the Academy is gonna lead based on the Golden Globes. And more often than not all the time, because especially this past year too, it was a lot different, but more often than not, the results are similar. And even though the Hollywood Foreign Press is mainly doing it, though, because they want to hang out with these celebrities, because that's all, they want to just hang out with these people, and they're inviting them to their show, and they don't know what they're talking about, and they're accepting bribes, which we're also going to get into.
Yeah.
Well, it's also...
Noah, go ahead.
Well, it's also like, for movies, let's be honest, the Golden Globes has become the second biggest award show for movies, which is crazy, because they're so unqualified, yet the SAG Awards are below them. Like, the Screen Actors Guild, voted by their peers, is worth less in the entertainment industry than a Golden Globe voted on by some old guy who remembers you from the 90s.
And an award show like this, too, if we're doing it off of who you want to meet or who you like and who you think is cool, that's what the People's Choice Awards already are, okay? More often than not, the most popular person wins at the People's Choice Award because of their fan group going and voting for them. So if that's the case, let's make the People's Choice Award bigger. At least then us, the people at home, have a say in it.
Well, but Joseph, you forgot. You are not over 60. You are white, but other than that, you are not... and you're not a confused old man.
Yet.
So you're not qualified to talk about movies, Joe.
No, I'm not. Obviously not. It's is that why you guys have been trying to tell me I should stop doing this? Like, I should stop voicing my opinion? You're just like, if you're not qualified to be on the Hollywood Foreign Press or the Academy, you cannot be doing this podcast anymore, Joe.
Exactly. Now you're getting it.
Now I'm getting it. One thing, though, I did actually have Noah research, which I want to talk about, is the ratings. Because ratings have been going down a lot, and this year's past Oscars, which we were going to do an episode on, but it was the worst Oscars ever, and it had such low ratings, there was nothing for us to talk about, and I'm pretty sure I'm the only one that watched it out of the three of us.
Yes, you are.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's correct.
Noah was invited to our Oscar party, and, like, did not, he's like, I think I'll stop by. Did not show up.
I forgot about it, I'm going to be honest. I was like, oh shit, the Oscars are tonight. And then
we invited him to our Discord server and everything. We were all on video chat. We were all like, Noah might show up. Noah did not show up.
Listen.
He won last year, took everybo's money, and ran.
Well, yeah, I gotta quit while I'm ahead, right?
Exactly. But the ratings have been going down. But I also wanted to know something about the ratings, which I'll wait for you to reveal your findings before I tell you what my hypothesis was. But Noah, tell us about the ratings of the Globes and the show, and is it actually a popular show and worth still having on the air?
So, that's a tricky question. If you were going to ask me in 2008, I would say no. If you're going to ask me in 2016 for the 74th Annual Golden Globes, I would say yes. So, I can just kind of go through my findings. I have here each year that the Globes happen, which Globe it was, like 65th annual, whatever. How many viewers, who was the host, and what was Best Picture for each category. You know, best drama or best musical or comedy.
Before you tell us your findings, I want to voice my guess.
Yes.
My guess is that the highest rated ones are the ones that Ricky Gervais hosted.
Okay. So, do you just want me to go year by year?
Yeah, take us through the last few years.
All right. So, I started my research for the Globes that happened in 2011, so for the 2010 movie year, the 68. So, I'll just go year by year. 68th.
Okay.
There were 17 million viewers. And I believe that was the first time Ricky Gervais ever hosted. At least it was one of his first hostings.
He's had 5 hostings, so depending on how many you've got on that list.
Then this was his second time hosting.
Okay.
So 17 million viewers, and the winners were for drama, The Social Network, and for comedy, Kids Are All Right, which I've never heard of.
Oh, I've heard of Kids. I haven't seen it, but I've heard of it.
Yes.
Yeah, same.
But Social Network, deserving of the win.
69th, that was 16.8 million, and that was Ricky Gervais again. That's when he went back to back. And the Best Picture was The Descendants for drama and The Artist for comedy/musical. Also, we can talk for hours about how ridiculous the categorizing is, but anyway.
The Martian, best musical or comedy.
So, for the 70th, That's 19.7 million. So that went up by almost 3 million viewers. And that was hosted by Tina Fey and Amy Poehler. And
that was a good year.
That was, and then they had the winners were Argo and Les Mis. In 71st, 20.9. So this is the highest number on the list. 20.9. It's a 1.2 million jump from the year previous. It was Tina and Amy again hosting, and the winners were 12 Years a Slave and American Hustle. Then the next year, it dropped down by about 1.6, and it was Tina Fey and Amy Poehler hosting again, so that's 19.3 million, and that was Boyhood and Grand Budapest Hotel. 73rd, which is another drop of 0.8, that was 18.5 million, and that was Ricky Gervais's third time hosting, and that was The Revenant and The Martian. That was the first year I actually sat down and watched the Globes. Fun fact. The next year, 20 million viewers, so that's gone back up by 1.5. The host was Jimmy Fallon, and the winners were Moonlight and La La Land.
See, that time they could both win. They could both win there.
Exactly. The next one, it went down by 1 million, so it's at 19 million. Seth Meyers hosted. That was 3 billboards outside Ebbing, Missouri, and Lady Bird. The next year...
I just need to vote because it came up that 3 billboards outside of Ebbing, Missouri was robbed for Best Picture at the Oscars that year.
What won that year?
Fucking, The Shape of Water.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Fucking bullshit.
The next year, we go down by 0.4. That was hosted to 18.6. That was hosted by Sandra Oh and Andy Samberg. And that was Bohemian Rhapsody, which how the fuck did that win? And Green Book.
Oh my god.
Ava, you want to talk about that a little bit?
Oh my god. No, I'm good. We know how I feel about that movie.
The next one, it dropped again by 0.3. And that bringing it to 18.3. All of these stats, by the way, are by Statista. It's the most comprehensive list I could find. And Ricky Gervais hosted that, and the winners were 1917 and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Very strong year for movies, I remember that.
It was.
Yeah.
In 1917, still somehow fucking won.
And now, last year, which saw a drop. It basically dropped to a third of its viewers to 6.9 million, which is the absolute lowest, or which is the lowest in the 2010s, or 2020, so not the 2010s, but it's the lowest on my list, and it's only more than, though, like, last time it was lower was in 2008 with only 6 million people watched it. And that was hosted by Tina Fey and Amy Poehler, who had the highest ratings, them along with Jimmy Fallon. And the winners were Nomadland and Borat 2, subsequent movie film. And there you go. That's my findings.
So, the Globes have had an interesting go. I'm honestly shocked that Ricky's aren't in the top.
Well, I think
Very shocked by that.
I think that where he's so controversial, it turns at least a few viewers off. But honestly, through my findings, I don't think the host has any impact.
Yeah, it looks like they don't.
It may be
I
for
am
something
shocked.
like Twitter engagements or maybe on YouTube or something like that. You may get more hits where people are actively searching for the host. But the actual night itself, it doesn't matter. And the people who have the best score were Jimmy Fallon and Amy Poehler and Tina Fey.
I can see Amy and Tina pulling off the best score. I don't know how Fallon did, though.
Fallon, people like Fallon, which will always baffle me. Fallon, actually, the year that Fallon hosted had the second highest. It was the second highest, 20 million viewers.
Noah's personal hell is sitting in a circle of moms talking while they talk about how much they love Jimmy Fallon and James Corden.
Yeah,
that is Noah's personal hell.
Yeah, that's fair.
My personal hell is just being surrounded by Jimmy Fallon while he does that fake laugh where he leans back and ends up clapping. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Oh,
yes.
yeah.
Yes.
Go watch
Imagine a bunch of Jimmy Fallons doing that.
Oh my god, that's
terrifying.
Horrific.
Yeah, okay.
While James Corden sings Les Mis.
No, he can't.
But he has. Anyways, So the Globes have had, a very interesting... I'm shocked that it went down and then up and then back down again, like shifts in the graph. But, yeah, Noah, what do you think probably is the biggest contender for that upward stroke, especially when Tina and Amy had it and it had that nice big jump? What do you think is responsible for that?
Honestly, I think it's just people want to see something different. So, but even when I say that, Tina and Amy's, the highest score of the Golden Globes over the last 10 years was in 2013 when they hosted for the second time. So I honestly don't think the host has any impact. I think it's purely just if people are interested in movies that year. That year had 12 Years a Slave and American Hustle as the winners. I can also bring up, actually, I will, that's the 2013 Golden Globes, for the 2013.
Just pound on your keyboard a little harder. Make the editing fun for me.
Yep, I will, Joseph, just because you asked. All right, so that's the 71st Golden Globes. 71st Golden Globes. And so that was the highest year. And here are the movies that were there. So nominated for Best Drama was 12 Years a Slave, Captain Phillips, Gravity, Philomena, and Rush. While the musical and comedy was American Hustle, Her, Inside Llewyn Davis, Nebraska, and The Wolf of Wall Street. However, we're forgetting an entire side of the Globes, which is the absolute powerhouse that was the TV that year. It was Breaking Bad, Downton Abbey, The Good Wife, House of Cards, Masters of Sex for drama, Brooklyn Nine-Nine, Big Bang Theory, Girls, Modern Family, and Parks and Rec for musical and comedy. I think that it's more so the TV that has a bigger impact on the Golden Globes than
I forgot so much about the TV side.
Than the movies
I think you're right. No, you're right there, 100%. The TV side is strong. And it's also essentially the Globes are, which once again, it's so weird because of the people who pick it, but the Globes are the highest honor for TV. That's what they're recognized as. The Globes and the Emmys.
Let me just check something, because 2013... I need to take a look, because Game of Thrones is not on that list. So I don't know if this was one of the years that they didn't shoot and missed the deadline. Because it was season 3, which was a very good season. So I think a lot of people were...
Well, if season 3 aired in 2013, that means it would be at the 2014 Globes.
So it would be...
so this would be season 2.
Yeah, it would be season 2, which I believe season 2 is it's a good season. All the seasons are good. People can fight me on that. I still like the last season. So, it's got, I believe, because of that, they took an extra year to film, or a half of year, so they missed it. So I think a lot of the intrigue was what's going to win in its place. And what season of Breaking Bad was that? Because I think the TV just has a bigger, I think it has a bigger part than, because nobody, let's be honest, nobody really cares where the Oscar goes, nobody really cares where the Golden Globe goes for the movies. They're all just waiting for the Oscars. The only reason people care about that is because of that was the last year of Breaking Bad. So that's why people were tuning in. And I think it's purely the Golden Globes is reliant on TV.
I have to agree with you after this. You've made a strong argument.
Well, I think a lot of people, they have their shows that they watch. Like the average family, they watch shows together. Like, Modern Family, my family always watched that together. So they would watch the Globes, and people want their show to win. They know the actors, they've been following them for years. They're like, oh, my show, my people, these are... there's a more personal connection to a reoccurring show that people will watch over time, over years, that they're more invested in, the average person. And it's not just movie people, and that's not just people who are really into movies or who care about the impact of awards. It's just people have an emotional connection.
Another interesting thing I just realized is the amount of streaming. Obviously, with more streaming services, it increased, but all of the TV shows nominated this year were streaming shows, and it was The Crown, Lovecraft, at least on the TV drama side. The Crown, Netflix. Lovecraft Country, which is HBO. Mandalorian, Disney Plus. Ozark, Netflix. Ratchet, Netflix. How did Ratchet get nominated? That show is terrible. Sorry.
No, that's true. That's a good point.
Bribes.
But
which is what we're going to talk about next.
Exactly. But it's also a much weaker year for TV. I read those, and compared to the list then, these shows have nowhere near, other than something like Mandalorian. Lovecraft Country it's a great show, but it has a very specific audience, right? It's more of a cult TV show than it is a big wide. Obviously, it gets good viewership, but you know what I mean. And the Crown and the Mandalorian are the really two big TV shows on that side. So I think and the Globes plummeted. So I think TV has way more of an impact than movies do.
Yep.
I agree with you.
It's pretty solid.
One big thing, though, that the Globes have come under fire for that no one can argue about is that the Globes have kind of an infamous track record for taking bribes for certain movies. And here to tell us more about that is Ava Carvello.
Okay, so they have quite the long history with this. So back in 1958, we're going all the way back.
Oh, wow.
The president at the time, Henry Gree, resigned because he literally was quoted saying certain awards are being given more or less as favors. He said that. So he told, that was like in 1958, he said that, and like a few months later he had to step down as president. But people should be able to recognize it wasn't just him as president that was taking bribes. He was just saying, oh, this is how we operate as an organization. So him stepping down really didn't fix that. Okay, jumping ahead a few decades, 1982.
The famous one.
New Star of the Year winner, Pia Zadora, draws industry ire. So, this was a case of like, honestly, I don't know how anyone could believe wins like this are justified. So, literally the reviews of this movie, like I'm looking at some of the quotes I have saved. One from the New York Times literally quoted Pia Zadora as like, not a convincing actress, spectacularly inept. Likened her emotional skills to Bridget Bardot, who's been recycled through a kitchen compactor. Like, people really did not like her performance at all.
I sometimes wish we had video of this. Noah's face as you said that. Oh my god.
It's scathing, but it's warranted, honestly. And so it's a little bit fishy, the winner, that she won after things like that were kind of put out publicly.
Do you have stuff on there about what happened with her husband? Because I was reading about that.
No, I don't actually.
So it's believed, and it pretty much is confirmed, that the reason why she won is because her husband at the time was a billionaire, and he took all the members of the Hollywood Foreign Press out for a weekend in Vegas and essentially bought her the award.
Imagine your wife is just that terrible of an actor.
So you take the Hollywood Foreign Press to Vegas, and you're like, my wife should win that award, huh?
Well, you know what? What are you talking about? She is a great actress with a great history of roles, such as Gimmer in Santa Claus Conquers the Martians, 1964. Butterfly, which is what she won for. Fake Out in 1982. She was Bobby Warren. I'm going to skip ahead a little bit. Here in Pia Zadora, Rock It Out in 1983, she played Pia Zadora. In Voyage of the Rock Aliens, noticing a trend here, 1984, she played Dee Dee. In Jermaine Jackson and Pia Zadora, When Rain Begins to Fall, she played Pia Zadora. In Pia Zadora, Little Bit of Heaven, she played Pia Zadora. And Pia Zadora, Let's Dance Tonight, she played Pia Zadora. In Field of Motion in 1985, she played Pia Zadora. In 1988, she was in Hairspray. Bet you didn't know that. She played Beatnik Chick. And in 1988, Just Pia, Dance Out of My Head, she played Pia Zadora. In Troop Beverly Hills, she played Pia Zadora. In Pia Zadora, Heartbeat of Love, she played Girl. in Mother Goose Rockin' Rhyme.
This is an amazing IMDb.
In Mother Goose Rockin' Rhyme, she played Little Miss Muffet. In Naked Gun 33 1/3, The Final Insult, she played Pia Zadora. In Favorite Deadly Sins, she played Pia Zadora. In Frasier, she played Jill. And in 2020, so 2020 is her first credit since 1999. She was in Pia Zadora, All or Nothing as Pia Zadora. There you go.
The range she has.
I know.
Crazy.
She's so good at playing Pia Zadora.
Wow. And okay, actually, after she won, people were like, "This is suspicious." There was allegedly, like, they signed, members of the Hollywood press signed waivers indicating that voting members, quote unquote, had not received gifts or perks from the studios. They had to, like, allegedly, it says allegedly, so I don't know if they did, but just sign a waiver being
didn't.
like, nah. But either way, I don't know how binding that waiver would be.
Anyways, please continue your list of controversies, and thank you, Noah, for delving into that IMDb for us.
Pia Zadora.
Now we're at 2010. The Tourist. The Tourist. So
Say it isn't so, Ava.
It won for best comedy or musical. It is categorized as a romantic thriller, and all the laughs that it got are definitely unintentional, if any. This is quite a choice. In fact, I would say it's quite an incorrect choice. There's really no way to justify this win. Do you guys have thoughts on this? I'm sure you do.
No, I've never seen it. Nobody's seen it.
Really?
It's The Tourist.
I haven't either, just because it's terrible.
Nobody's seen
Do
The
you guys
Tourist.
know? Have you guys ever, like, heard the log line for it?
No.
No,
What is the log
enlighten
line
us.
for it?
Okay, the log line for it. During an impromptu trip to Europe to mend a broken heart, math teacher Frank Tupelo, played by Johnny Depp, finds himself in an extraordinary situation with an alluring stranger, Elise, played by Angelina Jolie. She places herself in his path. Their seemingly innocent flirtation turns into a dangerous game of cat and mouse, while various people who all think that Frank is Elise's thieving paramour, Alexander Pierce, try to capture the pair.
That sounds garbage. That sounds like garbage.
It also won a Teen Choice Award, and it is, it says adapted from Anthony Zimmer.
That's a name. Why do I know that name? Is it just close to something
adapted-
else?
No, it's a
Zimmer.
French movie. The original. It's based off. This movie is an adaptation of a French movie called Anthony Zimmer.
Yeah, from 2005. I just found it. It is also categorized as a thriller romance, and it made
It has a 20% on Rotten Tomatoes, a 6 out of 10 on IMDb, and it has a 37 on Metacritic.
That's The Tourist, not Anthony Zimmer. Anthony Zimmer has a 60.
That's The Tourist, yes.
Yeah. Okay. Well.
You know, maybe to them those scores are kind of like scored like golf scores.
I did, however,
so that means they're doing good.
I
Maybe
did,
they got
however,
confused.
Find on Google a 5-star review, and I'd like to read it for you guys quickly. Jolie and Depp, Jolie is spelled Joly, by the way. I want to put that out there.
Good.
Are amazing in their characters. They're in love in Venice, such a unique city, is what we have a lot of in this film. Obviously a great script, the visuales, and all the actors are fantastic. A melange of mystery, sometimes very funny scenes. The criminals aren't so convincing. Who loves to have a nice time in times of COVID at home? Do not skip this film. By the way, Paul Bettany is one of the best English actors in the last 20 years. My friends enjoy Johnny, Angelina, and quite obviously, Venice.
That's definitely
that is the most recent 5-star review of The Tourist.
That is
and like half of it is spelt wrong.
That is a
It's so poorly written.
46-year-old housewife who went to Venice once as a teenager and has just been chasing that high for the rest of her life.
No, it's a man named Luis.
Okay, well, it still all counts. Gender didn't matter. This is absolutely someone who went to Venice as a youngster and has just been chasing that for the rest of their life.
And they were like, I can see a lot of shots of Venice in this movie. I guess we should now talk about the big thing. Unless you have more, Ava.
I have a few more. I'll skip some.
Yeah,
but
go.
2018, for example. Brendan Fraser. Do you know about this?
No.
The
No.
Hollywood Foreign Press president, Philip Burke, Brendan Fraser came forward and said that he was sexually assaulted. And just so you know, Brendan Fraser took a break from Hollywood and tried to make a comeback. And this, kind of ruined it. After he came out about this, you know how it is when people come out about sexual assault in Hollywood, sometimes their careers are ruined. And that's exactly what happened here.
Uh-huh.
But you think, oh man, bribery, racism can't get worse. Oh, it can. And it does.
So did he accuse the
president?
Yeah, okay. Oh,
Yeah.
That's nowhere near as funny as the tourist. That's just really sad.
Yeah, that's just.
Do you guys want to hear more about Venice?
No, I'm good. I think we should truck on.
I'll just say one more thing. In 2019, they nominated 0 women in Best Director, which is when Hustlers and Little Women were around in that year.
Yeah,
so
I don't know how Greta Gerwig
neither
doesn't get a fucking
Greta
nomination.
Gerwig or Lorraine Scarfaria, for neither of them to be nominated, that's a bit sketchy. That sits very wrong with me. Yeah. I mean, there's more. There's loads more. You could go every year and you could bring up 7 points each year about something not quite right. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that's the history leading up to this year.
Great.
So the biggest controversy, though, is the controversy of representation and racism. And it's an undeniable one. It's not really a controversy, it's just something that's gone on too long that hasn't been righted. And many years, people of color have not been properly recognized and nominated for roles. They have been overshadowed. And as we said earlier, there are no people of color on the Hollywood Foreign Press. There's no representation there. And there very much should be. Especially when, since there's no qualifications to be on it, at least be inclusive and have people from different parts of the world. So then also, having people of color, different nationalities and ethnicities, you can recognize more international films, which is something that the Academy has been trying to do. Not excusing everything the Academy has done, because that is another monster on its own. But it's something that they have done and that the Hollywood Foreign Press would benefit from doing. So I looked into this, and I found out some interesting things as I was reading around. The first thing that I found was that some people are claiming that in the end this is all a giant PR stunt. And they're saying that, because the Hollywood Foreign Press are journalists, they want to control the narrative of who's popular and drive up their credibility if they've bet on this person already. And that's why the Hollywood Foreign Press will bet on certain people and then give them awards. So people were saying that it was a PR move for now people of color to suddenly take a stand and now get more people of color recognized, because at the end of the day, yes, it is creating justice and equality for them, but it's going to make their names bigger. Don't know if I necessarily agree or disagree with this point, but I think that it is overshadowing from the fact that the Globes need to change, and this is not the conversation to have right now. Maybe it's a conversation to have in a few years, but it's not the conversation we need to be having now.
That sounds like the conversation white people are having about this.
Yes, it really much is the conversation white people are having. 100%. But there have been a lot of recent controversies, such as Margaret Gardner asking Oscar winner Daniel Kaluuya, I don't know how to pronounce his last name, I apologize, what it meant to be directed by Regina at the Oscars, seemingly mistaking him for Leslie Odom Jr., star of Regina King's One Night in Miami. That was this past year.
Oh my god.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there are also a lot of people that have come forward and have said, here's one right here. the Hollywood Foreign Press has been held to a much higher standard than the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences in the aftermath of the hashtag Oscars So White controversy in 2015. I don't know, this is quote, I don't know how many times that Hollywood-based publicists have said to them, we're more comfortable by the fact that there aren't any black members. Echoing a sentiment being spoken behind closed doors across Hollywood. So a lot of old racist people have gone to the Hollywood Foreign Press and said, we like it that you're all white. And there have been a lot of people to back up this claim saying, yes, those conversations have happened. We've heard it. It's true. So not only was this controversy not okay to be happening, but once again, the white man fueled it and made it worse.
Listen, I don't know if we're qualified to dissect this, but
we aren't really qualified to dissect this. But we at least have to say it's wrong and we don't agree with it, and the Globes need to be better.
Yeah, I can say for 100% certainty that this is absolutely ridiculous in the world we live in now. In any world, in any point in history, any view, any way of that way of thinking is absolutely ridiculous, and it's just the fact that it's still happening, the fact that this is not something that has been addressed even on the surface is just ridiculous, and I'm glad it's off the air.
And some people are even saying that it's not just the fault of the Hollywood Foreign Press, it's the fault of the publicists and the people in the public who have made this okay and said these things and also not taken a stand before. And this was echoed by Richard Rushfield, the editor-in-chief of the entertainment newsletter The Ankler. He said in an interview on March 15th, I'm shocked to find gambling is going on here. The idea that these publicists are suddenly horrified by what's going on at the Hollywood Foreign Press is pretty ridiculous. These people know everything that's going on. They know the Hollywood Foreign Press members by name. They're more than witness to the lack of diversity. They facilitated it.
I mean, that sounds pretty spot on to me. If the fact that this has been going and like it hasn't been the focus of anything, this hasn't been the conversation that's been surrounding the Globes, it's absolutely ridiculous and absolutely unacceptable.
Like, yes, it is good that these people are coming forward and they're saying, like, we don't agree with this, and the Globes have been stopped for now until they can be better, if they can make themselves better. But so many people are only stepping up because they have to. At the very least, to go on the celebrity front, someone like Mark Ruffalo said a few years back, as a recent winner of a Golden Globe, like, I'm not proud to have this award. Like, he's been against the Globes for a while now and speaking out about it. But there are people out there, especially there are lots of publicists or journalists or people out there in a position of influence who never said anything and who probably acted like they were okay with it up until now, where people online were like, this is not okay. It's good that these conversations are happening, and it's good that these changes are being made. But at the same time, so many people didn't really call it out, unless you were Ricky Gervais standing up there drinking a beer.
You know what's interesting is, amidst all of this is clearly very performative, but Netflix, Amazon, and Warner Media announced that they would cut ties with the HFPA until they brought more diversity into its membership. Let me tell you, and eliminated corruption, both those things. Let me tell you why this is very, very performative. So Netflix in 2019 hosted a third of the HFPA members to an all-expenses-paid trip to Paris, a luxury hotel accommodations, visit to everything, and a visit to the show Emily in Paris. And then Emily in Paris got nominated the following awards, which I don't know if you know about Emily in Paris, but it's shit.
Yeah, I have
really
only
not
heard
good.
Bad things about it.
So literally, for the awards, the last awards or whatever, Netflix, this is like confirmed, basically bribed the HFPA for Emily in Paris. And now they're coming out saying, oh, we don't stand with them until they stop a corruption, even though they're the ones offering the bribe. What? Like, it's... So that leaves a very sour taste and really makes you doubt what everyone is saying, everyone that's coming forward now, how many of them are doing it just to, like, I don't know, save themselves, you know?
Yeah, it is baffling what has been going on. I can't believe, though, that, like, it took... Like, the Globes have been on for, what was the last one? It was 78 or something like that? 78 years! And only now, like, something went on for 78 years like this. And only now are people taking a stand. And they're really only taking a stand because of Twitter. Because that's where it started. People started on Twitter just being like, this isn't right. Why aren't people of color being nominated or showcased or being honored for their performances and the hard work they're putting out there too? They are people too, and they are putting forth and giving it their all, and fucking Emily in Paris is being nominated.
Well,
the only thing that could have been worse is if they nominated To All the Boys I've Ever Loved, or whatever the fuck that bullshit movie is.
It was...
Oh man, but you know who they did nominate this year? Or before, at least, that was cancelled. James Corden for The Prom. Sorry, this is off topic.
Yeah.
But
James Corden was nominated for Best Actor for The Prom, where he played a gay guy. How did that one fucking happen?
And, like, a camped up, stereotyped gay man. Like, it's so cringy, it's so bad. The movie itself just looks, like, terrible. Anyways, that's just current example of all that we've been talking about.
Well, it just goes to show the complete lack of integrity all around. Especially for the Hollywood foreign press, and for the publicists surrounding it, for even the actors who are only coming forward because they're forced to. Someone like Scarlett Johansson. You starred in Ghost in the Shell. Really? And you're going to go out and turn around and condemn it. If that means you've learned from it, great. Mm-hmm. If that's what that means, then absolutely, because that's the most important thing, is that education happens, so this shit doesn't happen again. But you don't just get to skate by writing a Twitter line about, hey, I don't support this, while you still had your studios bribing for awards, you still accepted the awards, you accepted the monetary awards that go with it, you advertised the shows. If you are a part of the shows and you're only coming forward to save your own ass, that's a complete lack of integrity.
Agreed. And yeah, the only person who I could give a pass, and even maybe a half pass to, would be Emma Stone for Aloha, because she did not know at first that her character in that movie was based off of a real... I believe it was an Asian woman. I might be wrong on the race, but I believe it was an Asian woman. And she came out when she found out and said, I didn't know, and I'm sorry about this. And the movie went on. I think it was nominated at least at the Globes. I don't know if it won anything. But, yeah, it's... Hollywood whitewashing has been around forever. And it's good that it's finally becoming not okay. Because I wasn't really exposed to, like, knowing about it until really Ghost in the Shell. That's when I realized, growing up, like, oh, this is a thing. They do this, and it's not okay. Especially when in Ghost in the Shell, it just really makes no sense at all. But, yeah. Last thing we want to discuss here, guys, before we wrap up. What do you guys think this means for the future now of award shows, the Oscars, the Globes in the future? And how much longer do we have on award shows? Like, are award shows living on borrowed time?
I think they're working on a borrowed stretch. I think they're going to go away for a couple years because of all this shit, and they're going to go away for a couple years and then, stay quiet, let it blow over, and then after that they'll be back, announce that they're having it again, get everybody excited for it, let the controversy pass over, let the collective masses forget about it, and then just have it again. And we'll be through all of this again with new controversies, with new forms of discrimination just woven underneath. Because honestly, look at the past 70 years of award shows, and you can clearly see the same pattern of addressing something and then going right back at it. Look at the Oscars this past year. They had the same problems. They just covered it up a little bit.
Leave it to just to go back on what you said about letting it disappear and then come back. Leave it to Hollywood to reboot Hollywood.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, you're right. The Oscars have had the same problems. The Oscars have had a lot of problems in the past of not representing anyone of color. That has gotten a lot better in the last 5 years. There's definitely been a lot more representation, both on the Academy and in the nominees, and they have gone forth to better that. The Oscars don't take much bribes, to my knowledge. I could be wrong. I don't really know any controversies of the Oscars taking bribes. But yeah, it's gotten better, but they're still not perfect.
Well, yeah, and once again, I don't even think it's gotten better. It's gotten smarter about hiding it.
It's very true.
Yeah, no, it's all a cover-up. Now, do we think, because the Oscars, they've already been confirmed to be coming next year, but do we think that if the Oscars don't suddenly pick up on this, and maybe even if they do, it'll happen, but they've seen what's happened to the Globes, do we think now the Oscars are going to have to drastically change as well, or they're going to get canceled, or will Hollywood just never cancel their precious night?
You know what? I think, like Noah said earlier, it depends on what movies are in the Oscars more so. Because most people that watch the Oscars are just, like, normal people and might not even be aware of, like, any of this. They just watch movies, then they want to see the movies they like win. So, I mean, if there's strong movies that come out next year, and if the Oscars are good, people are going to watch it, and they probably will, like, it won't mean anything that the Oscars this year were bad. But if the Oscars next year are bad and it's clear there's not representation and the winners are skewed and whatever, because more people will watch it because they're looking for the movies, then it would lose traction, if that makes sense. But if the movies aren't good anyways, no one's going to watch it anyways. Like, to get the people in, it's dependent on what's nominated and the quality and popularity of the nominees. But, like, to retain those viewers who will want to watch the Oscars next year regardless of the movies and the content and media is, like, the actual quality and integrity of the awards. You feel?
I feel, and I agree with you.
Okay. Yeah, people...
But, yeah, at the end...
Like you said, people aren't aware... The general person probably is not aware of the controversies and stuff like that. And that's how these things have been able to skate by, right? Just by dazzling it up, right? Look at everything surrounding it. And it's just using people's excitement to push forward the narrative that they want.
I think that the next few years for sure are going to be very interesting to see. But one thing I think the three of us can all agree on, and hopefully everyone listening can agree on with us, is that just at the end of the day, award shows need to be better. And if there was any organization that needed to be put in its place the most, it was the Hollywood Foreign Press. And hopefully this does set a precedent. Yeah. Hopefully. But as Noah said, there is that track record of fixing something, and then it just sets right back to the way it was. Well, thank you everyone for listening to this episode of 21st Century Cinema. Sorry to end it on more of a gloomier note, but that's how we're going to end that one. Noah, where can people find you? What are you up to in your life? Tell us.
You can find me on Twitter at ShepardNoah14. You can find me on Instagram, although I do have a private account, but I accept most people, at Shepwrecked, like Shipwrecked, but with my last name. And you can also hear me currently on Fridays, Sundays, and Monday afternoons on VOCM 590. If you're in the St. John's region, that would be your AM radio dial. And if you're not, give me a listen. And everybody else at the station, great people that I work with, and they're all great at their job. at vocm.com, and you can listen to anything that's going live on the airways during that. So yeah, check us out.
Ava, what's up with you these days, besides changing your Instagram handle?
Yeah, I changed my Instagram handle. It's at Carvello02. Yeah, that's really the only place you can find me on social media, I guess. And, yeah, not much going on with me. You know, pandemic stuff. Finished first year. That's it.
And you can find me on Instagram at the one and only JDV with underscores in between. I'm also on Twitter at the one and only JDV if you want to see me tweet about shit you really don't care about, like the Knives Out sequel, which is what I tweeted about today. Also in my personal life, I am currently working to develop a TV show, guys, a real TV show. I'm developing a TV show called Your Paranormal Stories with a media company called Big Coat Media. May not ring any bells, but they're actually the company behind HGTV's Love It or List It and a few other shows out there. So we are looking for people who have experienced paranormal experiences to send us your story, because we want to adapt them and allow the everyday person to see what it's like to experience something of the paranormal. So if you've got a paranormal story you'd like to share with us, head to yourparanormalstories.com, also hyperlinked below in this podcast, and send us your story. Either write it up, send us a video file, or you can even send it to us in an email. We'd really love to hear from you. Or you can also follow us on our socials at Your Paranormal Stories. If you love our podcast so much and you want to support it, there are two ways you can do that. You want to buy some merch, it's linked down below. We're at tpublic.com/21st Century Cinema. On our TeePublic store, we've got tons of merch. We've got our OG logo, our special film reel logo, and we've got our new updated logo in multiple colors, might I add. We've got a design that Noah Shepherd made up for us, making fun of me and Ava. And we have everyone's favorite, the Shut Up Joe design. So get yourself that if you're absolutely sick and tired of hearing my voice. But listen to it for just a little bit longer, as I also tell you about our Patreon, patreon.com/TFCC, where for as little as $1 a month, you get all of our bonus content, bonus episodes, and the opportunity to chat in the comment section with my mom and Noah, which is what else would you want from life, honestly?
It's great company.
And because she keeps pushing for it, I guess maybe this summer we'll have my mom on the show finally, because it's been almost 3 years of her yelling at me to put her on the show.
Get Phil and Noah Schaefer on here, and let's do a horror. Let's do a horror episode. Maybe you guys make me watch some horror movies, because I don't really watch them. Yeah.
Maybe. That's not a bad idea.
Oh, you know what? Yeah. What'll happen is we'll have a Zoom party. We'll sit you down. We each pick the scariest horror movie we know within reason. We don't want to,
I've seen the Purge movies.
We'll pick actual scary horror movies, and we'll sit you down, and we'll all watch them together, and then we'll do, after each little one, we'll do a little brief. Joe, you tell us your scariest moment and give it a rating, and then we'll discuss it. And I think that could be a fun episode. There you go.
Could be a very fun episode. Yeah. No, Shepard, I'm making you the head of that episode. It's your brainchild now. You need to make it happen.
So. All right. We'll work on that. I'm also, Joe, I'm putting this out here. This is an unedited episode, so the people are going to hear it.
Oh, God.
I am...
Are you about to, dox me in some way?
No,
I'm so scared now.
No, you already sent them my email. Anyway, so...
Email Noah, guys! I forgot about that!
Don't email me. We do a couple quiz shows here, Noah versus Noah, Star Wars quiz. I believe the TFCC quiz, I think that was one.
That's unaired, that episode. That's an unaired TFCC episode. We have two unaired episodes. We have three episodes of TFCC that never made it to air, and that's one of them.
Wait, I didn't know that. Wait, why didn't that make it to air?
Because we did it right before Christmas, and Christmas just got so busy, and then we jumped into the new season. It's edited. It is edited. It exists in its full form. It is just unaired, and I'm kind of just keeping it to one day be like, here's an unaired episode of TFCC.
Absolutely. All right.
It up there.
So
that is one of 3 unaired episodes. So
we like to do quiz shows here on this show. I'm really bad at them, so
you're terrible.
I'm gonna host them, and you guys are gonna have to deal with something that I know, and that's sports movies. So you guys better
Okay,
study up.
okay, but we bring Noah Schaefer along for it.
Absolutely.
We bring Noah Schaefer
Absolutely.
in for it.
It could be all three of you.
Yeah.
So that's what we're doing. We're doing
Oh.
sports movies, and you guys
Okay.
are going to have to actually try and watch some and
These
get
movies
inspired.
are your brainchild. These episodes, you make these happen. You plan them. We will do them,
Oh.
Noah.
All right. I'm gonna write.
Ava, you too. You have any episodes you want to do? Plan them. Make them happen.
I'm
I'm
gonna
sick and
write
tired
them
of being
down.
the only one that plans these episodes.
TFCC. That's TFFC. TFCC episodes. We're doing this big bad sports quiz with
The
people
sports quiz is gonna end up tied 0-0.
who
Yeah,
don't
it's gonna be
play
good.
sports. And
I played
under the-
sports.
Did you? Oh, okay.
Yeah, pretty
with
competitive.
one person who plays sports. And
I played soccer in my younger days.
You played
I
soccer?
played provincial level soccer. So
Wow.
Yeah, I know you did. I think I drove with you to a game once.
Or you guys could have played.
I
like,
don't remember that.
You guys could have played like real sports.
I did rowing too. if
I'm
that
teasing.
counts.
I'm teasing. Soccer's a real sport. I just don't like it. All right, that's it for me, folks.
Thank you, Noah. Support us on Patreon is what I was just trying to say. And then finally, you can find the podcast online on social media. On Instagram, we're at 21st Century Cinema. At Twitter, we're TFCC Podcast. And on Facebook, we are 21st Century Cinema or TFCC Podcast. You can find us both ways because why would I make something easy? I don't. Thank you guys so much once again for listening. We are back. We will be back with a new episode very soon. Maybe we'll do that Outlook episode we were talking about. Maybe Noah's going to pump out that sports episode. Maybe Ava will make us talk about music again because she likes to make us do that once a year.
I do.
So, yeah, we'll see what happens. But we're back. We love being back. And hope you guys enjoy this episode. And we'll see you in the next one. Subscribe to us wherever you get your podcasts. Thanks.